Open world games are so hard to get right. I mean, you only have to look at what happened with Mind's Lie from earlier this year, a masterclass in how not to do it. The AI was basically brain dead, the graphics were a mess, clunky mechanics, it just felt like a pile of trash that got shipped out without anybody even playing it first. And that's kind of the point I want to make with this list. Not every game on here is going to be perfect. That's why the title is very clearly 20 open world games, and not the 20 best open world games. The reason they're on this list is because they're still worth playing, even with their imperfections. And at the very least, they're not on the same level as that dumpster fire that was Mind's Eye. So as always, I'm Daniel, and today, 20 open world games to play right now and forget real world exists. All right, kicking things off at number 20 is Batman Arkham City. So the premise here is brilliant. They took a whole chunk of old Gotham, wall it off, and just dump all the super criminals and thugs from Arkham Asylum and Blackgate Prison inside to run wild. And you, as Bruce Wayne, get captured and thrown in right at the start. So you gotta suit up and figure out what the hell is really going on with the Warden, Hugo Strange, and this mysterious Protocol 10 he keeps talking about. But the real star of the show, it's the city itself and how you get around it. The grappling and gliding is just sublime. It's a core mechanic all on its own. That rhythm of grappling up to the top of a skyscraper, dive bombing to build up incredible speed, and then pulling up and soaring across the rooftops never ever gets old. It makes you feel like Batman. And then there's the free-flow combat. Rocksteady basically perfected it here. It's this rhythmic dance of punching, countering, and using gadgets that is so smooth and satisfying. Taking on a huge mob of 20 guys and just flowing between them without taking a single hit. There's nothing quite like it. And that's perfectly balanced with the Predator stealth sections, where you're up in the gargoyles using the shadows, picking guys off one by one, and just listening to them get more and more terrified. Look, this isn't a new game, obviously, but it's the game that took the amazing, tight formula of Arkham Asylum and proved it could work flawlessly in a dense, open-world setting. It's one of the best superhero games ever made, and it still holds up beautifully today. Next up at number 19 is Satisfactory, and this one is a little different. It's not about story or combat in the way you'd normally think. You're an engineer for this comically evil megacorporation called Fix-It. They drop you onto a gorgeous alien planet with a simple mission: exploit its natural resources and build a massive, fully automated factory. That's it. That's the game. But it is addictive. You start out so small. You place a portable miner on an iron node, run a conveyor belt to a smelter to make ingots, then another belt to a constructor to make iron plates. Simple. But then you realize you need screws to make reinforced plates, and you need to automate the screw production. And then you need steel, which requires iron and coal. And before you know it, you're 50 hours in, you've built a multi-story gigafactory that spans an entire biome, and you're planning out a continent-spanning railway network to bring in rare resources. The core loop is just, it's one of the most dangerously compelling things I've ever played. And the world itself isn't just a backdrop. It's this beautiful, handcrafted planet that is, also actively trying to kill you. You have to go out and explore to find new resource nodes, but you're running into these giant alien spiders and fire-spitting creatures, so you have to craft weapons and better gear to survive the exploration, just so you can expand your factory even more. It's from Coffee Stain Studios, the same people who made Goat Simulator, which is just hilarious to think about. If you're the kind of person who likes solving logistical puzzles, and I mean big puzzles, and just watching a massive, intricate machine that you designed yourself come to life, be careful with this one.
Next up at number 18 is State of Decay 2. Now, on the surface, this looks like just another open world zombie game. And yeah, it kind of is. But the real focus isn't on you, the player. It's on the community of survivors you built. You're not one hero, you're a whole group of desperate people just trying to make it to the next day. And that's the whole game, really. You're always on the back foot. You're constantly scrounging for food, for medicine, for a bag of materials to fix your weapons. And you bring all that back to your base, which you have to build up and defend. Every survivor you recruit has their own personality, their own skills, their own baggage. You might have a brilliant doctor who's also a pessimist and brings down the whole group's morale. It's a management sim, really, disguised as a zombie game. And the killer, the thing that makes this game so special and so heartbreaking, is permadeath. When your favorite character, the one you've had from the start, your best scavenger, gets torn in half by a juggernaut, they are gone. The combat isn't smooth like, say, Dying Light. No, it's desperate. You're not a superhero. You're just a person with a rusty pipe trying not to get eaten.
This game was pretty rough when it first came out. It was janky as all hell, but the Juggernaut Edition update a few years back completely overhauled it. It's a much, much better game now. It's not about being a one-man army. It's a zombie survival management sim, and there's really nothing else quite like it. Coming in at number 17 is The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. You hear me talk about games having a vibe or a special feel? This game is the definition of that. You start as a prisoner, of course, and within minutes the Emperor is assassinated right in front of you. And with his dying breath, he tasks you with stopping a demonic invasion from the hell-like realm of, well, Oblivion. But the main quest, that's not why we play these games, is it? No! The real magic of Oblivion is getting completely and utterly sidetracked. The world of Cyrodiil it's just so different from Skyrim. It's this bright, colorful, almost fairy tale-like high fantasy world, and it is filled with some of the best written side quests in the history of RPGs. I am not exaggerating. The Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild quest lines in this game they're genuinely incredible. They're not just a series of go here, kill this missions. They have twists, they have drama, they have some of the most memorable characters and moments you will ever experience in a game. And it's still got that classic Elder Scrolls weirdness. That the NPCs will have these bizarre, nonsensical conversations with each other that you can just stand and listen to for ages. It's got a charm that is just completely unique to this game. It's a classic for a reason. A world that feels so earnest and inviting. An absolute must-play for the quests alone. All right, at number 16 is Immortals Fenyx Rising. Now, let's just be upfront about it. This game looks a lot like Breath of the Wild. The stamina-based climbing, the gliding, the little puzzle vaults scattered everywhere. The influence is super, super obvious. But if you can get past that, you'll find a game with a ton of its own charm. The premise is that you're Phoenix, a mortal storyteller who washes up on the Golden Isle after shipwreck. The big bad Titan Typhon has escaped and basically kicked all the gods' asses and turned into like a chicken in a tree. That kind of thing. So it's up to you to explore the island, restore the gods' powers, and take Typhon down. And the whole thing is being narrated by a bickering Zeus and Prometheus, and honestly, their commentary is one of the best parts of the game. But where it really finds its own footing is the combat. It's way more fast-paced and combo-heavy than you'd expect. It's all about dodging, parrying, and using these awesome godly abilities to launch enemies into the air and just juggle them with this flashy, really satisfying moveset. It feels less like Zelda and more like a light version of Devil May Cry or something. It's from the same team at Ubisoft that did Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But this feels like they were let off the leash to just make something fun. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's bright, it's colorful, it's funny, and it's just packed with puzzles to solve. It's a fantastic, lighthearted adventure. So at number 15 is Avowed. Now this is a game rated highly by critics, but it's got some real problems. It's not a bad game, not at all, but I think we need to be clear about what you're getting into. The premise is you're an envoy from the Aedir Empire, sent to this frontier island called the Living Lands to figure out what's causing a weird plague. It's a first-person RPG from Obsidian, set in their Pillars of Eternity universe. And the part where it shines, where you can feel that Obsidian touch,
is in the writing for the companions. They're probably the best part of the whole game. They're interesting, they have their own goals, and the moral choices you have to make with them are genuinely pretty good. The actual combat, swiping between the sword in one hand and spells in the other, yeah, it can have moments where it feels pretty cool. But the world itself, man, this is where it really stumbles for me. It just feels small.
It's not a real open world, it's more like a series of big, disconnected zones that you fast travel between. And that really hurts the feeling of exploration.
And while the main plot can keep you hooked, so much of the side content it feels like filler. A little underdeveloped, a little repetitive. So, what you have is a game with a decent story and some really good characters, but the world they live in, yeah, it feels like a bit of a letdown. It is absolutely still worth your time, especially if you're a big fan of Obsidian's writing and you want that fix. But a flawless masterpiece? No, not even close. I'd probably still give this game a 7 out of 10.
All right, coming in at number 14, we have No Man's Sky. And wow, talk about a comeback story. I don't think any of us will ever forget that launch. It was a legendary disaster, a textbook case of overpromising and under-delivering. But why it's here with such a strong recommendation is because of what it has become over the years. You wake up alone next to a crashed ship on a completely random, undiscovered planet in a universe with 18 quintillion of them. Your first task is just survival. You have to repair your scanner, mine some resources to fix your ship, and just get off the ground. The sense of scale in this game is mind-boggling. Every star you see in the sky is a real place you can fly to, with its own system of planets and moons that no one, including the developers, has ever seen before. But the game that exists today is almost unrecognizable from that launch version. Hello Games, they just never give up. They spent years releasing these massive free updates that completely transform the game from the ground up. They added proper multiplayer so you can explore with your friends. They added massive space freighters you can own and command like a Star Destroyer. You can build these incredible sprawling bases on any planet you want. There are living ships now, you can pilot mechs, the list just goes on and on. It's become this endless sandbox of cosmic exploration. One minute, it can be a really chill, almost meditative game where you're just quietly cataloging alien plants and animals. And then 5 minutes later, you're in a desperate dogfight with pirates or digging through the ruins of an ancient alien civilization. It's a testament to what a studio can do when they just refuse to abandon their vision. Truly one of a kind.
Yep, at number 13 we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is the one where the series just went full-blown massive-scale RPG. The premise is you're a Spartan Mystios, basically a mercenary who is cast out of Sparta as a child. You're sailing around ancient Greece during the Peloponnesian War, trying to uncover the truth about your family and take down a shadowy cult that controls, well, basically everything. But the real main character here, it's Greece itself. The map it's staggeringly huge. It's this beautiful, vibrant world of turquoise waters, white marble cities, and golden-leaved forests. Just sailing your ship, the Adrestia, across the Aegean Sea, listening to your crew sing sea shanties while dolphins jump alongside you. It's an incredible vibe. This is where they really leaned into the loot, the different armor sets, the skill trees. It became less about being a stealthy assassin and more about being a legendary Greek demigod. The combat is all about using these over-the-top special abilities, dodging, parrying, and of course, the Spartan kick. Kicking a mercenary off the top of a cliff never, ever stops being funny. It just doesn't. Some people might say Odyssey is a little too big. Yeah, probably. The map can feel a bit bloated with icons at times, but if you just want a world to completely lose yourself in for like 100+ hours, this is it. It's from the same team that would go on to make Immortals Phoenix Rising, and you can totally feel that sense of epic, lighthearted adventure here. It's just a fantastic historical playground.
All right, at number 12 is Lost Judgment. And look, if you've ever played a game from RGG Studio, the masters behind the Yakuza series, you kind of know what you're getting into, but this one is special. So you play as Takayuki Yagami, a private detective operating in the back streets of Tokyo. The game kicks off with this incredibly dark, complex murder case that seems impossible to solve, and it pulls you into this conspiracy that's all centered around bullying and a broken justice system in a high school in Yokohama. But here's the thing about this game, and the reason it's so brilliant. The main story is one of the darkest, most mature, and genuinely gripping crime thrillers you will ever play. It's serious, it's emotional, it's intense. And then you'll take a break from that to do a side quest where you have to go undercover as the advisor for the high school dance club and lead them to the nationals. The tonal whiplash is the entire point. One minute you're in a life-or-death brawl with a deadly assassin using Yagami's flashy acrobatic kung fu. He's got these different styles, one for crowds, one for heavy-hitting single targets, and a new snake style for disarming enemies. And then the next minute you're helping the robotics club win a tournament, or you're beating up a biker gang as part of the school curriculum. It's a game that perfectly balances this gritty detective story with some of the most wholesome, funny, and utterly bizarre side content I have ever seen. You explore these incredibly dense, detailed city districts of Kamurocho and Ijincho, getting around on your skateboard, just getting lost in the world. Trust me on this, it's a package that offers two completely different, amazing games in one.
Coming in at number 11, we've got Enshrouded. This one is still in early access, so, things are still being added and tweaked, but what's already here is honestly incredibly impressive. So the premise is you're a Flameborn, one of the last survivors of a kingdom that's been consumed by a magical, corrupting fog called the Shroud. Your job is to survive, rebuild, and push back the fog. On the surface, it's a really cool blend of a survival game and an action RPG. But it's not one of those super punishing survival games where you're constantly dying of hunger. Food gives you buffs, but you won't starve to death. The building system is incredible. It's voxel-based, which means you can build these amazingly detailed custom bases pretty much anywhere you want, piece by piece. And all of this is built around the main mechanic, the enshrouded zones. It's this creepy, dense fog that you can only survive in for a few minutes at a time based on your gear. And of course, that's where all the best resources and toughest enemies are. So there's this fantastic gameplay loop of preparing in your base, making a desperate run into the Shroud to get what you need, and then just barely making it out alive to upgrade your stuff so you can go deeper next time. And yeah, the combat is pretty solid too. You've got skill trees, you can be a warrior, a ranger, a mage, but honestly, even in early access, the amount of content and polish here is kind of shocking. It's one of those games that just has that one more run or one more build feeling that can just suck you in for hours. So, halfway through, at number 10 is Gun. Now this is a very, very old game. We're talking 2005. So look, let's just get this out of the way. If you are a visual freak, if you need everything to be 4K with photorealistic textures, this one is not for you. It looks its age. But if you can get past that, what you'll find is one of the tightest, most action-packed westerns ever made. The premise is pure classic revenge. You play as Colton White, and after your father figure is murdered, you're sent on this whirlwind quest across the Old West to find the men responsible and uncover the truth about your own past. And this was essentially the blueprint for games like Red Dead Redemption. It was one of the first games to really nail that open-world cowboy fantasy. You're riding your horse across the plains from town to town, getting into these huge shootouts. And the combat, honestly, it still feels great. It had this quick draw, slow motion aiming mechanic that it made you feel like a total badass, clearing a room of 6 guys before the first one even hits the floor. The world isn't massive by today's standards, not even close, but it's dense. It's filled with side activities like bounty hunting, poker, Pony Express missions. There's no fat on this game at all. It's a short, punchy, story-driven adventure that absolutely respects your time. If you can handle the ancient graphics, you'll find a real gem that a lot of modern games owe a huge debt to. At number 9 is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. On the surface, the premise is you're Talion, a ranger of Gondor stationed at the Black Gate. Your family gets unalived by Sauron's forces, and you're killed too, only to be brought back and merged with the wraith of an ancient elven lord. So now you're this immortal, vengeful ranger wraith stuck in Mordor, and you're out to kill the guys who killed you. Now, the gameplay, at first glance, feels very familiar. The traversal is a lot like Assassin's Creed, and the combat is almost a direct lift of the free-flow system from games like Yakuza. And you know what? It's a fantastic system, so that's a good thing. It's brutal, it's rhythmic, it's incredibly satisfying. But the reason this game is on this list, the reason it's a masterpiece, is one single mechanic: the Nemesis system. It's genius. So the world is filled with procedurally generated orc captains. They're not just random mobs. They have names, titles, personalities, strengths, fears, and when you fight one, say Gorfang the Skullcracker, if he kills you, he doesn't just disappear. He gets a promotion. He gets stronger, he gets a new title, maybe he becomes a war chief's bodyguard, and he remembers you. The next time you run into him, he'll taunt you about how he killed you before. It creates these organic, personal rivalries that are completely unique to your playthrough. And you can use this system to your advantage. You can find out Gorfang is terrified of fire, so you can exploit that. Better yet, you can dominate him, bend him to your will, and make him your spy inside the orc hierarchy. You can then command him to betray his war chief in the middle of a battle. It's one of the greatest ideas in an open-world game ever. It makes the world feel alive and reactive in a way that very, very few games have managed since. A true classic.
So next up at number 8 is Far Cry 5. And look, for me, this is the one where the series just embraced pure chaotic fun. The premise is you're a rookie deputy, a rook. You fly into this seemingly peaceful valley in Hope County, Montana, to arrest the leader of a doomsday cult, the incredibly charismatic Joseph Seed. And within the first 10 minutes, it all goes spectacularly wrong. You're stranded, your allies are scattered, and you basically have to build a resistance movement from scratch and liberate the entire region from Joseph and his frankly insane family. But the story is almost just an excuse for the real game, the Far Cry sandbox. This is one of those games where you'll be driving to a mission marker, and on the way, a bald eagle will snatch a fish out of a river, a bear will start mauling a cult VIP you were supposed to capture, and you'll get dive-bombed by some lunatic in a biplane. It's a beautiful, chaotic mess, and I mean that as the highest compliment. And you don't have to do it alone. The Guns for Hire system lets you recruit the locals and animals to fight alongside you. Yeah, you can have a dog named Boomer spotting enemies for you, or a diabetic grizzly bear named Cheeseburger just tearing through an enemy outpost. It's as ridiculous and as awesome as it sounds. Now, is it the most sophisticated story? No. And a lot of people got annoyed by how the game would forcibly capture you to advance the plot. And that's a fair criticism. But if you just want a massive, beautiful American sandbox to just cause absolute mayhem in, this is peak Far Cry. It's pure, unfiltered fun.
Coming in at number 7, we have Valheim. Instead of Valhalla, Odin drops your soul into the 10th Norse realm, the kind of purgatory called Valheim. And your job is to prove your worth by hunting down and destroying Odin's ancient enemies, these massive, mythical bosses known as the Forsaken. Now, it's a survival game, and this is probably the perfect survival game for people who hate survival games. You have to eat, sure, but you won't starve to death. Eating just gives you massive health and stamina buffs. It's a system built on rewarding you for preparing, not punishing you for forgetting. And the first thing you'll notice is the look. The graphics are intentionally lo-fi, almost like a PS1 or a Nintendo 64 game at first glance. But then you see the lighting system, you see the way the fog rolls through the Black Forest, or the way the sun sets over the ocean while you're sailing, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The core loop is perfect. You start with nothing, punching trees, building a tiny, smoky little hut to survive the night. Then you build a longship, and you set out on the open sea. And that moment, when you lose sight of your home shore and you see a new, unexplored continent on the horizon, man, the sense of true adventure in this game is almost unmatched. And with friends, it's just on another level. And the craziest part, this whole phenomenon was made by a tiny, tiny team. It's a testament to how a strong vision and a perfectly balanced gameplay loop can create something truly special. It's a world that is both cozy and terrifying, and it's so easy to get lost in. And at number 6 is Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. The story of MGS5 is famously a Kojima story. It's wild. You're Punished Snake, a legendary soldier who wakes up from a 9-year coma. Your old army is destroyed, you've lost an arm, and you're out for revenge against a shadowy group, Cypher, and their leader, the terrifying Skullface. So you have to start from scratch, rebuilding your army, the Diamond Dogs, from a base in the middle of the ocean. The game gives you these two massive maps, Afghanistan and Africa, and it just sets you loose. The core loop is you select a mission, rescue a prisoner, sabotage a facility, eliminate a commander, you pick your loadout, your buddy, your helicopter drops you off, and then the game just says, all right, figure it out. The sheer number of ways you can approach any single mission is just, it's staggering. You can go in at night, in a sandstorm, crawling on your belly with a tranquilizer pistol, or you can do it from a kilometer away with a sniper, or do you call in an airstrike to create a diversion on one side of the base while you sneak in the other? Or do you just drive a tank through the front gate with your boombox blaring 80s pop hits? You can do all of that. And it's all tied together by the Fulton recovery system. You knock out a soldier, you attach a balloon, and whoosh, they get yanked into the sky and sent back to your base to join your army. This is Hideo Kojima at the absolute peak of his gameplay design. Even if the second half of the game feels rushed and it's a huge bummer, but the gameplay itself, the moment-to-moment stealth action, it is a flawless 10 out of 10. So next up at number 5, we have Octopath Traveler 2. And this one is a bit of a different interpretation of open world for sure. It's not a seamless 3D space like most of the games on this list. Instead, it's this beautiful throwback to the golden era of 16-bit JRPGs, but with a modern twist. So the premise is you choose to start the game as one of 8 completely different characters. A warrior, a cleric, a merchant, a thief, you get the idea. Each one has their own unique starting location, their own motivations, and their own complete story to play through. And right after that first chapter, the game it opens up completely. It lets you go anywhere. You can travel across the entire world, recruit the other 7 characters in any order you want, and tackle their stories whenever you feel like it. But the first thing that's going to grab you is the art style. They call it HD 2D, and yeah, it is stunning. It looks like a long-lost Super Nintendo game, but it's been brought to life with these incredible modern lighting effects, depth of field, and reflections. It's just pure pixel art perfection. And the gameplay, the combat is the real star. It's a turn-based system, but every fight is a strategic puzzle. It's all built around this break and boost mechanic. You find an enemy's weakness to break them and stun them for a turn. And that's when you cash in your saved up boost points to just unleash these massive multi-hit attacks that do insane damage. It is so satisfying.
Honestly, this is a huge improvement over the first game in every single way. The stories are way more interesting, and they actually connect in a really satisfying way towards the end. It's a game that proves that open world isn't just about the size of the map. It's about player freedom, the freedom to build your own party and forge your own path. It's easily one of the best RPGs to come out in recent years.
At number 4 is Sable. The first thing that will hit you, and I mean hit you, is the art style. It looks like a living, breathing comic book drawn by the legendary French artist Moebius. It is one of the most uniquely beautiful games I have ever seen. You're a young woman named Sable, and you're about to embark on your gliding. It's this rite of passage where you leave your home clan, you get your own hoverbike called a simoon, and you just go out into the world to see what's out there. Your goal isn't to save the world or kill a big monster, it's to find a mask that represents the person you want to become. But here's the thing you need to know. There's no combat. None. There are no enemies, there's no health bar, you cannot die. The whole point of the game is just discovery. The core gameplay loop is you're on your hoverbike, which you can customize and upgrade, and you're just gliding across these vast, beautiful deserts. You see something weird on the horizon, a crashed spaceship, a strange ruin, a tall spire, and you just go check it out. The climbing is almost a 1-for-1 lift from Breath of the Wild, stamina wheel and all, and it feels just as good. It's not perfect, no, especially when it first launched, the game was a bit janky. The frame rate could be rough and the hoverbike could get stuck on things, but a lot of that has been patched. It's a game that asks you to just slow down, listen to the incredible soundtrack by Japanese Breakfast, and just exist in its world for a while. It's a beautiful, peaceful, and almost meditative journey.
So next up at number 3 is Gravity Rush. This game is pure unfiltered creativity. The premise is you wake up as Kat, a girl with amnesia, in this beautiful, floating steampunk city called Hexville. You almost immediately meet this magical cat named Dusty, who grants you the power to control gravity. And let me be absolutely clear about this. You don't fly, you fall. You press a button to float, you aim at any surface, the side of a building, the underside of a bridge, a floating airship, and you press it again, and suddenly, that is your new down. It is completely disorienting at first. You will be tumbling through the air, totally lost. But then it clicks, and when it does, the feeling of absolute freedom is just unparalleled. The entire city is built to be your vertical playground. The simple act of just traversing the world, of falling from the top of the city right down to the bottom islands, is more fun than the main missions in most other games. The combat is built around it too. You float in midair, line up a shot on a monster's glowing weak point, and then launch yourself into a gravity kick. It's a little floaty, sure, but it's so unique and so cool. And you have to remember, this was originally a PlayStation Vita game. It was a technical marvel on that little handheld, and it's the reason the world is made of these big, distinct districts, but the PS4 Remastered plays like a dream. It's one of the most stylish and purely original open world games ever made. A true masterpiece.
All right, at number 2 is Generation Zero. And this one has this super unique and honestly kind of terrifying setup. You're a Swedish teenager in the late 1980s. You're coming home from a trip, and when you get to the mainland, everyone is gone, just vanished. And the only thing left roaming the beautiful, eerie Swedish countryside is a bunch of hostile killer robots. Now, this is from Avalanche, the Just Cause developers, but you need to throw that expectation out the window. This is not a power fantasy, not even close. You are not a superhero. You're just
you're just a kid with a hunting rifle, and these machines will tear you apart in a heartbeat. The whole game is this incredibly tense loop of stealth, scavenging, and guerrilla warfare. You'll be looting a house for a handful of bullets, and you'll hear it, that mechanical clank whir of a robot patrol outside, and your heart just stops. It's a game about picking your fights, about setting up ambushes with traps and lures, and then running for your life. And the best part is how you fight them. You're not just shooting at a health bar, you can shoot off their components. You can blow the optics off a big hunter so it can't see you properly, or destroy the missile launcher on its back. You are dismantling them piece by piece just to survive. Now look, when this game first came out, it was pretty barren. It was rough. But the developers have done an incredible job supporting it over the years. They've added a ton of new story content, new machine types, and even a whole base building system. Especially with a few friends, this turns into one of the most tense, atmospheric, and satisfying co-op experiences you can have. It's a game of cat and mouse, except the cats are giant killer robots. And finally, at number 1 is Ghostwire Tokyo. And I know this is a divisive game. A lot of people bounced right off of this one, and I totally get why. But the reason it is here is because no other game in recent memory is better at making you forget the real world exists. You play as Akiso, just a normal guy in Shibuya. Then a mysterious supernatural fog rolls over the city, and everyone just vanishes. All that's left are their clothes lying in piles on the street. In the chaos, you get partially possessed by a snarky spirit detective named KK, which not only saves you, but gives you these wild elemental powers. And the first thing you have to understand is that the city of Shibuya, it's the main character. This is one of the most breathtakingly atmospheric game worlds I have ever explored. Walking through the empty, rain-slick streets with the neon signs of convenience stores reflecting in the puddles, listening to the distant, eerie music, it's just a total vibe. It's beautiful and deeply unsettling all at once. And even the combat is great. You're not shooting guns, you're using your hands to weave these intricate elemental spells. It's like supernatural first-person karate. You're blasting these terrifying spirits, these faceless salaryman and headless schoolgirls with wind and fire, and when you wear them down, you rip their cores out with these golden energy threads. It is so stylish and unbelievably satisfying. The open world structure is, it's a bit Ubisofty. It's a checklist of cleansing torii gates to clear the fog and collecting spirits. It can feel repetitive, and I absolutely understand why that didn't work for some people. But for me, none of that mattered. I was just so completely absorbed by the atmosphere, by the sheer mood of it all. It's a game that is less about the mechanics and more about just being in its world. A world that is so haunting, so gorgeous, and so utterly unique. It's an absolute masterpiece of immersion. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and also turn on the notification. Lastly, don't forget to drink water and get some sun. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.